Yeah, my mama's side was born and raised on Ridge Road.
Uh-huh.
So that's where we originated at, really.
I hear
Best
that.
I can remember.
But so you grew up on Ridge Road.
Yeah.
But you came from the Moors from there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
My daddy was a Moor and from there. Yeah.
So you were related to Otway Moore. He's
Who?
Otway. He built boats in there.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But I know the Moore family was in there.
Yeah.
You know, my grandmother and grandfather used to run back then it was the Morehouse farm.
Mm-hmm.
They're right at the top of the hill where the reservoir is now. You go up.
Yeah.
They run a poorhouse farm there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, did you always work on the water?
No, not always. I started out there as a little tot, and then I wound up working it full time at 16.
Mm-hmm.
And I went in the shipyard. I decided I needed to find a trade.
Mm-hmm.
I went in the shipyard when I think I was 18. And they put me over in that scrap yard over across the Warwick Boulevard, and I stayed there throughout the summer, and then I quit. Then I went back the following year, went to welding school.
Mm-hmm.
Went through pipe welding and all that stuff. Left there, went up to, they were redoing the power plant up here in Yorktown. Browning Root was, so I went up there welding pipe. Then I joined the Carpenters Union as a welder and welded the Hampton Roads Tunnel together, the second phase of it.
Yeah.
And then I left there and went to Busch Gardens when they were building that and, as a welder in the Carpenters Union. But I decided I wanted to pick up a belt and do some work. I wasn't doing nothing but sitting around with fingers up. You know?
Yeah.
So I learned how to do carpenter work. Wound up general foreman over the carpenters redoing the Budweiser plant. Built a couple houses for myself. Then I bought my workboat and went back on the water. I was in about 80.
1980.
Yes. I went back on the water. I think it was 79 I bought the boat.
I was still dredging crabs then. We ran the Janet for a while. Then Ed Hall got off the Kingfish, so we got on the Kingfish.
Okay.
But you know, dredging was the last thing I did because Daddy used to fuss at me. You gonna do something different. You know, you gotta do something different. And so I'm glad I listened to him because
Yeah.
you know, I went construction for a while, operating heavy equipment and everything, and then I went to the city of Newport News because I was a single parent with a 4-year-old daughter, and working for contractors, you don't know where you're going to be working
Exactly.
for how long and all.
Exactly.
So I knew the city would always have to be maintained. So I went to the city of Newport News and retired as operations superintendent. So I've got a nice retirement now.
Good.
You know, pays all my living expenses.
That's all you can ask for.
I ain't rich and got a lot of extra money, but I ain't got to worry about living expenses.
You ain't got to worry about your light bill.
That's right.
There you go.
So I'm glad I did that.
You ain't got to worry about your light bill. You can buy your biscuits.
Yeah.
So you're all right.
But I ain't get too far from the water, you know.
Oh, I didn't either. I took, like all that I told you, took about 10, 12 years. You know, the rest of it's been on the water.
Yeah. So like 1980s when you got your boat and went back.
Yeah, I got my boat and got married again. I think that was in '83. And come back from off of our honeymoon got married in August, come back off the honeymoon. Oh, got married in September and come back off of the honeymoon and started working in James River. And that's when all hell broke loose up there. Mr. Perrock come to me up there. I pulled up to the fuel station one morning. I'd known the man all my life since I was a little fella. But we had never really had any conversations, just hello, hey, how you doing? And I went to the fuel dock that morning and he said, Billy, I need to talk to you. I said, okay. I shut the engine down, got out the boat. Me and him went walking around up at Mansfield. He began to tell me, said, Billy, there's going to be big condominiums all up here, and Cadillacs and Rolls Royce and all down here with garages and everything. And, I said, oh yeah, I said, that'd be pretty nice, I guess. Nachman Realty had bought the property. So I went home that evening, I couldn't sleep. What the world are we going to do? Where are we going to put our oysters out at? Where are we going to tie our boats up at? And that sort of stuff, I'm going through my mind like a ton of bricks.
Yeah.
Next morning I woke up and I told the wife, I said, look, I want you to do me a favor. I said, what time I'm at work there, I want you to write a letter to the editor. And that's where it started. I decided I was going to take on Nachman Realty in the city of Newport News and see if I could slow that down at least.
Right.
But I wound up stopping it and getting the city to buy the property. It's still there. People still working there today.
Right.
But that was about nearly a 3-year project. And I didn't even live in Newport News.
Right.
And I certainly didn't want to be president of no Watermans Association.
Now I hear that.
I was doing that on my own. And it was successful at it. So.
Yeah.
Then Mrs. Nachman, Mrs. Bowditch, come down to my house one day. I knew something was up. Invited me up to the museum. It was still over in Gloucester. Wanted me to come over there to a luncheon before they decided to move it that weekend. So I went over there, and Pete Freeman was over there, and they talked me into taking over the Watermans Association. Big mistake.
Ooh.
But it was, I can't say I got a lot done.
Right.
I got a lot done for the people, and I was environmental and infrastructure president. I could care less how much you got for a bushel of oysters or a bushel of crabs. Or you own private business. You sell for what you want to sell for. But I was in infrastructure. At the time, everywhere you looked, there was parking garages going up in Hampton, and there was all over the waterfront was being destroyed so far as this Waterman would be concerned. Having a place to have bay use from.
Right.
So I decided I would tackle that problem. And of course we got the museum over there. She talked me into raising $20,000 for that, so we did. Me and the women of the ward, I call them, to men's husbands, wives and stuff. We raised $20,000, a little over what I'd promised we'd do, and I broke the bottle on the museum, the champagne bottle.
Yeah.
After that, they come up with, I've talked to people and got them to come up with writing the Preservation Act of Virginia to protect the wetlands, the marshlands, the waterfronts, and so forth, to where it could stay into the Waterman use category, or Chesapeake Bay use category, not Waterman particular. So I stayed in Richmond helping write the Preservation Act of Virginia for about 3 months.
Right.
So we finally got that done. I come back, and just as soon as I try to take it easy, something else pop up.
Oh boy.
You know, that's the way that situation is.
Right.
And the shipyard, they wanted to fill in all that area up and going up to the bridge and turn that into a wetted moored boats and ships and stuff. I didn't have a whole lot of trouble defeating that. I just wrote a letter to the legislators and the governor and so forth. Then I had to go meet the governor and sit and talk with him about several different things. Legislative all the time, every winter. I was paying for it all. So far getting any money from the people out here that work on the water, you're just spinning your wheels. You know, you're not going to get none. So I was fitting the bill to a point that it just got too much.
Sure.
And then they come up with this sailboat race up and down the Chesapeake Bay. The Coast Guard had given the organization that was having the sailboat race the rights to go out here and take all our crab pots up and gill nets up and all that stuff and put them on the shore.
Come on. What year,
from,
when
from
was
here,
that?
From here to Tangier. That was in 1989.
Wow.
Yeah, the
That's
Coast Guard
crazy.
had given them the right to just take all of our gear out the water and do whatever they wanted to do with it. And I thought to myself, oh no, that can't happen, you know. So I sued the Coast Guard, took them to federal court, and won that. Then after that,
Before it happened or after the fact?
Before.
So, I mean, it never happened.
It never happened.
Right.
I
Okay.
stopped
That's what I thought. 'Cause I was going to say, I don't remember anything like that.
You can't wait till something happens
No, I know.
before you stop it. You got to get on it before it happens. So I got that stopped.
Yeah. All right.
I remember the old judge, he was sitting up out, you know, I just old country kid, you know, I'd never been in a courthouse in my life.
Right.
He was sitting up there like Jesus himself, you know. And I remember he saying, the Watermans Kings of the Bay, they get their license from the state of Virginia to operate and to set their gear and stuff in the state of Virginia. And the federal government's got no right whatsoever to tell them what they can do when they can't do it.
Right.
So that was over with. Thank Lord I whipped that one, because that would have created one heck of a problem.
Yeah.
For years and years, you know. After that, I decided I had enough. Come back, come home, went to goes and refinanced my home after I spent all the daggone money trying to fight all this stuff for the people. Refinanced my home, opened up my crab house. Actually, peel with pot, that's what I started at. Did that for 13 years.
And where was that at?
In Picosa.
Where?
Right there next to where Haywood Forest was.
Okay.
It used to be the old, it used to be a restaurant when it was built there, Harbor Inn Restaurant. That's where I opened the crab house. And I guess somebody told me that Edgar McPherson was going to sell the property across the street from there to some yacht basin over here in Norfolk. Was going to come down there and put a yacht basin there. I said, oh no, not again. So I went to work on that, and I talked the city of Pocosin into buying the property. I still had a little, I guess I could say, political capital to spend.
Right.
And I got in touch with the Army Corps of Engineers and port authorities. Anyway, like I say, I talked everybody into it and got the Army Corps of Engineers down there to talk to me and to survey and what we had to do. And I met with the city council and everything to try to get everything in-kind donations done, the paperwork and all that stuff. So finally, everybody said, you can't get no dredge. I said, well, I never say I can't do something. You know, if you can't do it if you don't try.
Exactly.
You know. So they finally, they dredged the harbor out there at Message Point, and that was the last of my dealings with the government stuff. I wound it up. I said, no, this has got to be choked off. I did a lot of TV interviews and stuff like that afterwards, but everything I ever done was recorded very well through the news media.
Right.
I mean, 3, 10, and 13 covered me like I was their stepson or something. You know, I think I did 50. I think it was 54 or 56 news stories on Channel 10 in 1 year.
Wow.
Yeah. But that's the only way you could get anything done.
Yeah.
You had to bring
Right.
to bring attention to it. You got to
Mhm.
bring attention to it, or it's not going to get done.
Exactly.
So that's what I've done. I used the media to my advantage, and they used me to their advantage.
Right.
So there was an equal understanding there. When I hear somebody say they can't do something,
I know.
You cannot do it if you don't try.
That's exactly right.
You know.
See, you sound a whole lot like me. I ain't scared to tackle something.
Oh, no,
You know.
it ain't nothing but the thing. If you what have you done? If you lost it, at least you try.
Yeah, exactly.
But
All they can do is say no.
I can sit here and tell you right this minute, I never fought nothing as when I started Minchfield, and to the day I give up the presidency, I never lost any situation. I won every one of them. And the way I did it is I told the truth.
Exactly.
I didn't pull no punches. I could always prove the truth, but I felt like I could never prove a lie.
Exactly.
So it wasn't no need lying.
Yep, that's great.
And I feel in my heart that I've done a lot of good for the people of the Waterman plus the citizens of Virginia. You know?
Absolutely. Sure have.
It was a ride.
So a lot of what you did has enabled them to still be here today.
Exactly right. They wouldn't be in Minchfield Harbor tonguing oysters and crab potting and stuff like that today.
Right.
You know, a lot of these waterfront places would already have parking garages on them.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
And the city has had their own interest in that property too, but they've been held off for now.
Been held off. Well, the Preservation Act has held them off. That's why I wanted to, why I talked them into let's do something about the wetlands and stuff, the marshlands, the wetlands, and stop them from being filled in. All of that was my idea.
I hear that. Oh,
and,
boy.
And it worked.
Yeah.
It worked. And I guess today there's still a Preservation Act of Virginia.
Oh, yeah.
We stopped all these contractors from filling in the marshlands and stuff.
Yep. That's it. Well,
I'm perfectly satisfied for a boy that had to quit school in the 8th grade.
yeah.
You know.
All up and down the coast, everywhere, preserving working waterfronts has been a real problem.
A problem. Major problem.
And to still have Messick Point and to still have Deep Creek is it's just a huge blessing, you know?
Well, Mayor Easton I had it out with him too. You know, I've had that with every mayor on the peninsula, I guess. He was trying to shut down our Coopers and Amory's seafood.
Yeah.
And I had to fight him on that. To finally slam my hand on it, I said, "The hell you will."
Well, Graham and Rylands and Amory's are hanging in there.
Yeah.
But
well,
there's a big push on them now too.
I'm sure it is.
So,
I'm sure it is.
And Virginia Tech's done moved in there and built a new facility and everything. But they are working with the seafood.
Right.
They do testing for Graham and Rylands and all, and I mean, so they're serving a purpose, but they took up that space on that waterfront too.
Yeah.
But all that's changing a lot now because of the picker situation, you know. When you can't get people to pick the crabs, then that changes everything.
Changes the ball game.
Yep.
Yep.
So,
well, the hard crab industry is all but gone to begin with. You know, and I got to say I was part of it. But when peel potting started,
yep.
And when you start trying to take them from the time they're 2 inches, 2.5 inches long until they're full grown, you can only have so many left over.
Mm-hmm.
And these peel pots, some of them coming in here from up north with 2,000 or 3,000 pots and blanketing the water and leaving them in the water all summer long, catching the white jimmies and everything after they shed, and the peels, all the little crab from the babies to the mamas. You know, so it can't hold up.
Right.
It's impossible for it to hold up. That wasn't my cup of tea. My cup of tea was the environment. That's what I was.
Right.
That's what I was fighting for.
Yeah.
The infrastructure to see that the Waterman could have years and years of it.
Right.
That was my goal.
But now, I mean, you did what you did to preserve it, but now you've got the environmental groups that go to the extreme that are trying to kill it, you know, and they become the enemy of the Waterman.
Well, I found out one thing, what little bit of politicking I done. You can kill everything, but you never get it buried.
Yeah, that's right.
You know?
Yeah.
So, and if somebody don't step up to the plate, they're gonna lose it all.
Yeah. And I believe that the Watermen need to be gathered together in an association now to give them a bigger voice.
Well, yes, but the Waterman has got to come up with, hey, I got to get off of a little bit of change.
Oh yeah.
You know, maybe they ain't got to take cash out of their pocket, but maybe a bushel of crabs a week or a month, or 100 clams, or a bushel of oysters or something. And let my goal was, when I had the city of Pocosin to buy all that property, was to be able to set up a co-op over there, to where that could take place.
Sure.
To where the Waterman would be they could everything go to the co-op and then distribute it throughout the country from the co-op, so everybody could make money.
Right. Yeah.
People, the Waterman, be partners in the co-op, get a share of the co-op at the end of the year when they whack the money up, and
right.
you know, and kept some hold on these problems that we have here. You fight problems with guts and money. You can't do it all without money.
Right.
You know, even go from here to Richmond and stay. I was trying to work the water and spending half of my time, or 2/3 of my time, into meetings in Newport News, Hampton, all over the state, including Richmond. Right. On my own dime.
Yeah.
You know.
I hear you.
And it was expensive.
Sure.
You know, just to drive from here to Richmond, what, $20? Then.
Yeah.
Then. Now it's probably $30, $40. And all that mounts up after a while.
Sure it does.
But until the Watermen decide that they can hire somebody to do the job I'm doing, that I did,
Mm-hmm.
they're going to lose it all.
Yeah.
And it's just a matter of time.
Mm-hmm.
Because ain't everybody going to step up to the plate like I did.
Well, one thing, the way it looks to me, one thing that they could do is, the challenge right now is VMRC is trying to regulate 1,500, 2,000 individual watermen, individual independent watermen. And they see that as a challenge, because then they're thinking, we need more staff, we need more boats, we need a bigger budget, we need this, and we need,
Exactly.
Well, I think their goal is to end up with 2 or 3 corporations that are controlling all of it, and that there are no more independent watermen, but you work for one of those corporations. Because if they can get it to that point, all they got to do is pick up the phone and make 3 phone calls, and they've done their job.
Right.
Where now they've got all these individuals. And I keep telling them that if the watermen would pull themselves together and work together and really work with the association could be that corporation.
Right.
And they could come to the corporation when they have, come to the association when they have an issue and it be worked out, as long as they're going to participate with the association,
Well, you can force, and I did, you can force VMRC to work with the association.
Yeah.
I mean, I was a big backbone for VMRC. I had a lot to say with what took place, so far as the regulations and stuff with VMRC.
Right.
And I'm the only one went up to Richmond after I'd give up the presidency and spoke against this system that they got now, but the card system to sell and all that kind of bull. I'm the only one that went up there and spoke against that, because I could see what was going to happen.
And a lot of them now won't go to VMRC and talk. They say they're not going to listen. They ain't going to hear it.
They ain't going to listen if you don't go there.
Exactly.
You got to go there for them to listen.
I know it.
And you got to force them to listen.
Right.
Like myself, they didn't want to listen. They didn't want to listen to me. I put up a bunch of women and men out there with signs marching in front of VMRC until they did listen.
Exactly.
These people ain't gonna do something as a favor.
See, that's one thing I like about workboat life, what I'm doing. That's a platform right there.
Yes, it is.
And it reaches out.
That's why I'm talking to you right now.
Yeah.
It's a platform that the people need to hear and need to know.
Right.
Exactly. To know they're gonna lose everything I did for them.
Sure. I know.
And I'm gonna say I did it for them.
Yeah.
I didn't do it for me.
Sure. Well, that's the way I am. I ain't doing this for me. I'm doing it for them.
But these people just.
You know how much money I spend of my own money traveling around and doing all this stuff?
I can imagine.
It gets expensive. Like I said, my retirement, that pays my living expenses. It don't pay for all these extravaganza of traveling around and everything.
And this don't pay nothing.
Nothing. Look, people think I make all this money from Facebook and YouTube. I haven't made a penny. Not one penny.
Right.
So.
People don't understand. They don't want to understand.
Yeah.
They don't want to get involved.
Right.
And I can understand them not wanting to get involved, because I've been there and done that.
Mm-hmm.
But if they don't get involved, they'll come across one day that these private boats and stuff's going to be a thing in the history book.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's not that far off.
It ain't. That's right. Mm-hmm.
It's a lot closer than they think it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Even down to you got National Park Service trying to make Chesapeake Bay a national park. I mean, it's just getting crazy.
And nobody's speaking up.
No.
Not a soul.
Mm-mm. So, I guess until it actually hits them where it hurts, they just want to just try to leave things alone and just status quo, just keep things going, but it ain't gonna work like that.
The sad part of it is, by the time that happens, it's too late.
Too late. Yep.
It's all too late. Then.
Mm-hmm.
You got, hey Willie.
Hey, how you doing, man?
Hey.
Yep. You got to stop this stuff before it starts.
Exactly.
If you let it get started, you can't stop it.
Right. Mm-hmm. Mm. Well, and see, you know, they've got the association that's running up in Northern Neck, J.C. Hudgens and all, but the meetings are all up there on a weeknight, you know. And I've tried to tell JC, I said, look, you ain't getting all these people to come up here.
JC West got an association up there?
Yeah, Virginia Watermans Association.
Well, see, I opened a charter for the association.
Well, see, they're
and
very...
had people in each Eastern Shore.
See, that's what I've been telling JC, that you got to have chapters.
Yeah.
You can have one president, but
Right.
you got to have chapters in the areas. And he's saying, well, it's hard to have consistency with something like that. I said, well, it's better than having 3 or 4 different associations.
Exactly.
You know, I said, that's what you're going to end up with if they do get an association.
Yeah, I wrote the charter for the Virginia Watermans Association.
I hear that.
And that was the goals, but then a bunch of them up in Gloucester and stuff decided they want somebody that worked at BMs to take over the association, and after that the association lasted about 3 months.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
you can't put the fox in the hen house.
Right.
You know.
Exactly. I know.
But, you couldn't tell them people that.
But now they're trying to do Zoom. That's what they're doing. You can do Zoom meetings on the computer.
Right.
Well, they said, well, we're going to do Zoom meetings, and they had a test run that I ain't never heard no results from that. And the last meeting, they were going to have it on Zoom, and then, oh, well, the Zoom person didn't show up. I told JC, I said, that is not going to work.
It won't work.
You got to have people in each location and have chapters of the association to be able to work together.
You need a chapter on the
Eastern Shore.
maybe several chapters.
Yeah.
On the Eastern Shore, Northern Neck, Gloucester, Coast, Hampton,
Yes.
Newport News, Virginia Beach, Norfolk,
Mm-hmm.
Chesapeake. You got to have them all through the state of Virginia.
Yeah, right. I agree 100%.
You know, that was what I was working on. But
Sure.
I just couldn't. I wasn't going to take it no further.
Well, some people say that you'll never get all the Watermen together, and I'm starting to believe them. But because I don't know how else to get the message out. You know.
Well, I'm going to tell you from experience, you're not going to get them together.
Mm-hmm.
You're not.
Yeah.
They're just too set in their old ways.
All right.
You know, they don't think we got cell phones anymore. You know, they
Yeah.
think we're still stuck on the landline.
Yeah.
They don't they're not up in modern times.
Right.
Let's face it, they're not in modern times.
Mm-hmm.
Modern times is passing them by what time they pull in a crab pot.
All right. That's it. Mm-hmm.
And that's all they're worried about is that crab pot, how much I'm going to get for this bushel of crabs.
Mm-hmm. Right.
They're not worried about it. Well, I'll get this bushel of crabs, but when I get to the bank, I ain't got nowhere to offload them.
Oh boy.
You know, that's coming.
Yeah. Right. I know it.
What little bit I could do to protect it is, I'm afraid it's all about to come to an end.
Mm-hmm. It
And that's
is.
been 40 years now.
Yeah. Right. Well.
I don't see nobody going to step up.
Well, again, I'm never gonna say never, you know, and it's certainly worth trying, and I'm gonna try to get them together one way or another. But I mean, that's all I can do.
That's all you can do. Good luck, I'll tell
Yeah.
you. You got my blessings.
You know, some people think I'm out. Like I said, they think I'm out making a bunch of money, and I ain't never made a penny from it.
Right.
And when I first started, I started to capture the history because the wooden dead rise is fading out. And
Oh,
the
yeah.
seafood industry is changing so rapid, you know. I was trying to capture the history. And I even started collecting. I got the old wooden barrels and boxes and the hooks to hoist them out. And I mean, I got all kinds of stuff. And that's how I started doing these nautical displays everywhere. So I can start educating people and teaching them how it was and, you know, where we're at today. And I'm talking to Newport News now because they want me to come to the fall festival and do a big nautical display there. And I do it in Hampton, I do it in Yorktown. Gloucester has me coming to the Guinea Jubilee. So what I tell them is to keep it different. I tell that locality's history. You know, in Yorktown, I tell York County and Poquoson history. In Newport News, I'm gonna tell Newport News history.
Yeah.
And you know, Hampton, I'm telling Hampton history. I drudge crabs out of Hampton Creek many a day, so I know a lot of Hampton history, you know. And I ain't saying I know all of it, but I know enough. Like when I did that, I had the sign, used to hang outside of Cooper's. You know, I had Graham and Rollins, that old wooden hand truck where they moved the barrels, and you know, I got real pieces. Real, if it ain't real, I don't want it. I ain't gonna just make something to, you know. I want real pieces.
Right.
So
Well, we did the same thing. We don't public relations.
yeah.
We'd go to all the festivals, and have somebody hang gill net, build crab pots, even build a boat.
Mm-hmm.
We went all up Richmond to the Science Museum. You know, you got to put forth public relations.
Yeah, right.
You got to get the public on your side.
Yep.
You know, and that's the easy part.
Oh yeah.
That's the easy part.
Yeah.
The hard part is getting the Waterman on your side.
Right.
You
It
know?
is, exactly.
Because when I was fighting Minchville, it was by myself for a long time. But eventually, as the word got out, as the newspaper articles, the news on the TV and stuff got out, then along come the doctors, lawyers, housewives, and stuff that would lived in that area, you know. And next thing you know, they were having me come to their house to have meetings with their neighbors and stuff.
Yeah.
You build the public relations, and then you got them by the.
People tell me, oh, don't nobody care about that. But I say, you would be surprised. When I set up in these places, a lot of people on Workboat Life come see me, Waterman will come see it, but the public, they come in there and I start taking them on a little tour and teaching them all about it, and you'd be amazed how much they love to learn and hear about it, you know, enthusiastic about it, and just thank me for doing it, you know.
Absolutely.
I tell them, I say, you know, that's my purpose. That's my purpose right now.
Yeah.
Is be an advocate for the Waterman and keep it alive, you know, and try to put a voice with it.
And that's one of the major steps into his public relations.
Oh yeah. When I was with the city, the State Corporation Commission approached me and asked me to apply for an advisory committee for them. So I talked to my administration, you know, and they said, yeah, we do that. If you can get in. So the council, John Dudley is the council of the commissioners, and he called me up, did a phone interview. And then he called me back, had a second phone interview, and he recommended to the commissioners that they appoint me to that committee. So they did, and once a month I would go to the State Corporation Commission in Richmond. I was a city employee, the city was paying me, but I was participating with them, and I did a full term, and then they wanted me to re-up, and I re-upped for a second term, and I was still doing it when I decided to retire. But I was up there working with all the lawyers and judges, and, I mean, all the CEOs of all the utilities around here and everything. I know a lot of people up there, you know. And I know Johnny, JC and Johnny Graham go to Richmond once a year, give them a big seafood lunch. And that's good. I'm sure that gets a lot of attention. But I told him, I said, I know some people up there that I can go get in somebody's ear, you know. And you got to be able to, and now there are some, I ain't gonna call them out right now, but there is a small group that do have Governor Youngkin's ear, Glenn Youngkin, and they're doing what they can, but we've got to get more going on. It's got to come together.
It's either going to come together or it's going to go away.
Yeah, because
I can see it. I can see the handwriting on the wall.
Yeah.
You know,
one bad thing is Youngkin has not stood against the offshore wind farms, you know, and that is an atrocity that'll never be the same out there. All the infrastructure in the bottom to put all that in place, and then all those transmission lines coming to the shore. It's like an electric blanket down there, you know, and not to even bring up the navigational challenges with radar, with all that stuff out there. And I mean, it's a mess.
Oh, it'll wind up a nightmare.
And it's don't even produce. They don't last long. They don't put out as much as they say they do, and they're full of oil to try to keep them cool. And when they fail, they burn up, and all that oil's in. You know, I mean, when they're putting them together, some of them big blades will break or get lost, and they're down in the bottom. I mean, there's so much junk down there.
Where they putting them off the continental shelf?
Yeah. So I don't know exactly how many miles it is right now. They keep moving, trying to adjust and have areas.
They tried to, when I was back years ago, they tried to put oil wells here in the Chesapeake Bay, and no, that couldn't happen. You know, no, that couldn't happen. I went up to the Tribs Committee one time, and 2 or 3 of the oil companies pulled me out into the hallway and tried to make a deal. Oh no.
Yeah.
Tried to take me to Louisiana is what they wanted to do. Wine and dine me for a week or so, you know. I said, yeah, I'll go down there with you, but I'm going to tell you before we start. You can do all the wine and dining you want, but you'll never convince me we need oil wells in the Chesapeake Bay.
Right.
You know.
That's it.
I could. Don't tell me what I could have got out of them if I'd have wanted it.
Oh, yeah, sure.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the way them people operate.
Oh, yeah.
And the sad part of it is, the right person they can get through to.
Oh, yeah.
They can take that $500,000 or whatever it is and go on about the business and say, yeah, I'll be okay.
Mm-hmm. Right.
That's how them people operate.
I know. Yeah.
They don't operate with an empty pocket.
No.
Yeah.
And what the public's being told is about as far from the truth as, yeah.
Well, you're trying to find me a group of politicians going to tell the truth.
Yeah.
You know.
But everything used to kind of be in check to some point. But when the media got bought up by them, then that's it. Because the media used to be the ones that would approach them and question them, and you know. But that don't happen no more.
No, well, this very media is owned by the corporations that want to do this kind of stuff.
Right.
It's the problem, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know, buddy. I know one thing. I'm at the end of my time.
Yeah.
It's up somebody else to step up.
Right.
You know.
And see, the Bible tells us it's all coming. You know,
Sure.
The world is going to end.
It don't take an educated man to figure that out.
And if you read the Bible, you can see that that's pretty right. The stage is set. That's where we're at. I ain't saying this is the end, but the stage is set.
It's all set.
So
they done turned the floodlights on.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I don't know, my friend. I hope and pray that somebody will step up to the plate, it ain't gonna just take somebody. It's gonna take the whole industry to step up to the plate and get some people that know how to go and talk for them.
Right.
And pay these people. They got to come off with some change.
Yeah.
And it's not that much. You got what? 2,000 or 3,000 Waterman left?
If they would all come together, I mean, a handful can't fund it.
A handful can't fund it. And nobody can afford to fund it by themselves,
Yeah.
you know.
And the few that would fund it, they're all going to be benefiting from it, you know?
Right.
But you can't get them to see that.
Right.
So,
Oh, I know that idea. Very well.
I can tell you, I appreciate everything you did. 'Cause,
I appreciate it, Paul.
You're the one that helped keep us to the point we're at this time.
Yeah.
But somebody got to step up.
Somebody got to step up to the plate.
Yeah.
I don't know who it's going to be, but somebody got to step up to the plate.
Right.
If they don't, it's just, they're going to lose it all. It's a shame. It's sad. I mean, I remember when I was a little boy, you never heard of VMRC or anything,
No.
you know, it didn't even hardly exist. Now, you can't even go here with a hook and line by the VMRC coming up to you wanting to check you.
Right. Well, I don't know.
It's a bureaucratic system.
All I know is I'm gonna get up every morning and do what I can do, you know, and try to tell the story best I can.
Well, I wish you all the luck in the world, my friend.
Oh,
I hope and pray you make it through.
Right.
You know, because it's something. Something's got to be done. Well, but I got no faith in anybody doing it.
Right.
Because I've been there and done that. You know, hard enough to get somebody to come to a meeting with.
Yeah.
You know.
It is. Mm-hmm. Is there some part of it that's have you had some part that was your favorite part of it, or is there anything in particular that just sticks out above everything else, or?
Yeah, I guess it is Minchville. That's what got me started, and that's what I can go up the street and see what I did.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
And I feel like that was one of the major things that I done to protect the industry. You know, the oyster industry would be gone up there by now.
Sure. And oysters have come back in a big way.
Yeah, but it would be gone now,
Yeah.
because them people up there with condominiums ain't gonna put up with you going down there at 4 o'clock in the morning cranking up a diesel.
Yeah.
You know, that ain't gonna happen.
Right.
So, yeah. Well, tell you the truth, all of it, I'm kind of satisfied with the way the outcome.
There you go.
Satisfied with the outcome. I don't regret doing what I did.
Right.
Cost me a lot of money, but
Right. And time.
oh yeah, the time you can't even compute that.
No.
But it's nothing I did that I'm not satisfied with.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I'm glad.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you don't regret it at all.
No, I got no regrets about it. It was a good experience, you know, actually. You know, I got to know a lot of people. I got to do a lot of things that I wouldn't have been able to do, you know, with learning, you know, the education side of it, through learning the legislative processes and all that stuff. Because none of that's taught in school anymore.
No, I know.
No civics is taught in schools anymore, you know. So everybody's left out here to learn for themselves.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you sitting down with me, telling me the story. I mean, there's a lot of history there, and
Well,
it needs to be known.
I figure one of these days there ain't gonna be nobody left to tell it,
Right.
you know.
Exactly.
If I don't get it, if it ain't heard, if it ain't known, and my name don't even have to be on it. That's not my concern.
Right. Yeah, I hear you.
I want it to be known. I want these people out here to try to get their shit together and see if they can reform another association with some strength to it that can protect them for the future, protect their children that's coming along, their grandchildren.